That little pink backpack had no business floating in the middle of the Atchafalaya Swamp, especially not 9 months after the disappearance of 2 young twin girls. On a sweltering April morning in 2022, Monica Elisa, single mother from Mississippi, was making coffee when she dropped her sugar spoon. A call from an unknown number flashed on the screen. The moment her hand reached for the phone, every nerve in her body went numb. "We've found something unusual in the swamp. A child's backpack. Inside, there are items that may belong to your daughter." She collapsed into a chair, coffee spilling across the table. Her eyes locked on the photo taped to the fridge. Lena and Lacey, her 7-year-old twin girls. Their train trip to New Orleans was supposed to be just a summer getaway, but on July 12th of last year, they vanished without a trace mid-journey. Police found nothing. The media covered it for a few days, then fell silent. But Monica never stopped searching. Every day, she printed more flyers. Every evening at 7:45 bedtime, she stared at the clock, hoping. And now, 9 months later, that backpack caked in thick mud strands of light brown curls, tangled in the zipper, and a tiny silver owl keychain felt like the first door cracking open in the dark. What Monica didn't know behind that door lay a truth more brutal than her worst nightmares. Monica Ellis, 34, is a black woman living in the quiet town of Brookhaven, about an hour's drive from Jackson, Mississippi. 4 years ago, she lost her husband in a car accident. Since then, she's been both mom and dad to her twin daughters, Lena and Lacey. Life wasn't easy, but Monica never let her girls feel unloved. She worked the early shift at the local post office starting at 6 a.m. Every morning, she woke them up with an old Whitney Houston song, something she'd done since they were babies. Though money was tight, Monica made sure to create little moments of joy, weekend pancake mornings or Sunday afternoons at the park, where the twins would race around the biggest oak tree in town. Lena was the quiet one, always painting with watercolor, often drawing pictures of her mom smiling in the kitchen. Lacey, more outgoing, loved reading and would perform fairy tales in her own dramatic voice. Around town, folks called them Brookhaven's twin sunbeams. Monica kept every drawing Lena made, every scribbled note Lacey tucked into her lunchbox, as if deep down she knew these small things might one day become priceless. Lena loved to paint. Lacey loved to read. The girls were bright, joyful, and inseparable. Their trip to New Orleans was a promised reward after a successful school year. Monica had picked the train, a classic mode of travel that the twins were thrilled to try. It was July 12th, 2021. After a quick breakfast in the dining car, Monica let the girls play in the children's area of the next car while she returned to their seat to grab her phone, which was charging by the window. Just 6 minutes passed. When she returned, Lena and Lacey were gone. That summer trip had started as Monica's small dream. She'd been planning it since February, pinching pennies from her post office paycheck and weekend shifts waiting tables. She'd booked tickets on the Amtrak Crescent, the line that runs from New York to New Orleans, because she'd heard the stretch through Mississippi and Louisiana had beautiful views. For Lena and Lacey, it was their first big trip. Monica could still see the sparkle in their eyes as they boarded, clinging to their favorite toys. She'd even bought each of them a tiny notebook to jot down what they saw along the way. That day, July 12th, 2021, the sun was blazing. The train left Brookhaven at 9 a.m. The three of them sat by the window, laughing, chatting. Monica took a photo of the girls leaning into each other, red syrup smeared around their mouths from shaved ice at the dining car. That photo would later be printed on thousands of missing posters. Around 11:20 a.m. The train had passed Jackson and was heading toward Baton Rouge. Monica allowed the twins to play in the children's section, a small nook with plush toys, picture books, and a cartoon playing on a TV. She returned to her seat to grab her phone and quickly call her mother to let her know everything was fine. She was gone for just 6 minutes. When she came back, the play area was empty, just a few scattered pillows and a storybook on the floor. No Lena, no Lacey, no laughter, no trace. Panic surged. Monica ran car to car, screaming their names. Passengers looked on concerned. One train staffer tried to reassure her. Maybe the girls had just wandered off to another car. But when an internal announcement went out and the train made an emergency stop at the next station, everyone began to realize this was serious. Rail police were called in. Staff pulled security footage. But a crucial segment of the video was missing. Monica remembered the eyes of one woman. She had glanced at Monica as she passed, then quickly turned away. When questioned, the woman claimed she hadn't seen anything. But Monica couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. The trip that was supposed to celebrate her daughter's hard work had turned into a nightmare from which Monica would never wake. The train pulled into Baton Rouge at 11:58 a.m. Monica nearly leapt out before it stopped screaming her daughter's names as she pushed through the crowd. Station staff rushed her into the admin office while security began sweeping the platform. Monica's mind was unraveling. Through tears, she kept repeating, "I only looked away for 6 minutes. Just 6 minutes." A local officer, Lieutenant Celia Moore, was the first to sit beside her, offering a bottle of water and speaking in a steady voice. Moore was also a single mother. That alone made her refuse to treat this like any ordinary missing case. The search expanded quickly. Every train car, restroom, hallway camera was reviewed. But the station's security system was under maintenance. Only some cameras were working. The recovered footage showed nothing conclusive. Monica refused to go back to Brookhaven. She rented a motel room near the station, visited the police every day, and walked the nearby streets each night hoping to find a clue. She passed out flyers, taping them to gas pumps, post offices, and bus stops. 3 days later, at a press conference, Monica stood behind the sheriff as he read a statement. Her face showed exhaustion, but her eyes still burned with hope. A reporter asked, "Do you think your daughters are still alive?" Monica didn't hesitate, "I don't think. I know they're out there, and I'm going to find them." That quote went viral, becoming a rallying cry for a growing movement to find missing Black children, cause the media too often abandoned far too soon. Right after Monica reported her daughters missing, the train conductor activated the emergency protocol. An announcement went out over the PA system asking all passengers to check their surroundings and immediately report if they saw two twin girls about 3:07, with curly brown hair, wearing white T-shirts and jean shorts. The train was searched from end to end, car by both staff and railway police. Monica was accompanied by an employee named Charles, whose name she still remembers because he said, "I've got 2 daughters. I'm not giving up." They searched every corner, restrooms, luggage compartments, even the fire equipment cabinets. No sign of the girls. There was a security camera in the play area, but the footage from the time they went missing was corrupted. The file wouldn't open. Another camera near the kitchen car captured part of a scene, the twins following a woman in a long gray coat wearing a wide-brimmed hat. Her face was obscured. She led the girls out of frame and then vanished. Monica nearly collapsed watching that clip. Why would they go with a stranger, she kept asking herself before immediately blaming herself for ever leaving them alone, even for just a few minutes. The passenger manifest was reviewed. No one matched the woman in the gray coat. A few passengers vaguely remembered seeing someone like her, but no one had thought it strange at the time. One detail caught investigators' attention: the ticket checker that day. A man named Martin Haddant marked the tickets for Monica and her daughters after the Jackson stop. That could suggest they left the train before Baton Rouge. But Monica insisted she never left her car except to grab her phone. A new theory emerged. Someone may have removed the girls at an unscheduled stop only known to train staff. When the train reached Baton Rouge, local police were waiting. They locked down the station, checked the list of passengers who got off, but found no record of the twins. An older train engineer near retirement told officers, "There are a few old sidetracks nearby where the train sometimes stops for maintenance or emergencies. If someone knew what they were doing, they could have used that window to get off unnoticed." Though there was no solid evidence, it pointed toward a new line of inquiry that whoever took the girls may have known the Southern rail system intimately. The mystery deepened when Monica noticed something else in the security footage. Lacey's teddy bear was left behind on a seat, an item she never parted with. "I don't believe they went off on their own," Monica said. "Someone took them, and I want to know why." Train staff and police conducted more searches. Security footage was reviewed again, but the last clear image showed the twins following a woman dressed like a cleaning staff member. There was no record of such an employee on board that day. The train arrived in Baton Rouge roughly 30 minutes after the girls vanished. Local police launched a full search, but found nothing. Monica fainted when someone suggested the girls might have been taken off the train. A few weeks later, an anonymous email arrived. Attached was a blurry photo taken from a distance of a girl who looked like Lena at a flea market in New Orleans. But the cameras in the area hadn't been working that day. As time passed, the case began slipping into silence. Monica kept her daughter's bedroom exactly as it was and hung new flyers around the neighborhood every single day. Once news of the disappearance broke, the internet lit up, especially among parent groups and Black community forums. The hashtag #JaSechar_FindLena and Lacey spread quickly, even trending in the southern U.S. On Twitter for a while. A week after the girls vanished, Monica received another anonymous email. This one had a photo, a curly-haired girl in a purple hoodie, standing near a toy stall at a flea market close to the French Market in New Orleans. The image was grainy, but Monica was certain it was Lena. That face, that stance. A mother knows. She printed the photo and rushed to the police. Detective Celia Moore immediately contacted New Orleans PD, but by the time they arrived, none of the nearby surveillance cameras had been working. Vendors didn't recall seeing any girl matching the description. Could have been someone else, an officer said. We can't confirm an identity from a blurry picture. But Monica wasn't giving up. Days later, a man named Jeremy, a local Uber driver, posted on Facebook that he'd driven a white woman and two quiet black girls from the train station to a cheap motel on the city's outskirts on the exact day of the disappearance. He remembered it because the woman used a fake name to book the ride. The post went viral. Monica reached out. But by the time she brought the tip to police, the GPS data had already been auto-deleted, erased after 7 days. No footage, no license plate, no digital trail. Nothing they could use to expand the case, Monica said bitterly. Within 2 weeks, Monica received over 20 tips, mostly distant photos of young black girls taken at gas stations, grocery stores, or parks. Each one sparked hope, but none were conclusive. Once she flew all the way to Mobile, Alabama, only to learn the girl was a local child with her family. A woman named Rachel from Houston messaged that she'd seen twin girls fitting the description with a middle-aged white man who had a tattoo that read HJ on his arm. Rachel, a former teacher, swore one of the girls had eyes that silently begged for help. Police took her statement, but didn't follow up. Monica began to realize if she didn't investigate herself, no one would. She launched her own website to collect tips, photos, and clues. She printed 2,000 new flyers with bold letters. If you see anyone who looks like Lena or Lacey, don't stay silent. And on the 45th day since they vanished, someone sent her a photo of a silver owl keychain lying in the dirt near a swamp in southern Louisiana. That keychain, Monica knew it well. It had been Lena's birthday gift last year. Everything in her mind slowed, because maybe, just maybe, someone was still trying to send a signal. Nearly 2 months after the disappearance, the noise around the case faded. Local news stopped reporting. National outlets had never really covered it. Monica had once hoped the FBI would step in, but the case remained at the state level because there was no clear evidence of a federal kidnapping. She felt like she was screaming into an empty room. Every time she spoke up, the reply was the same: "We're still reviewing." Nothing new yet. Only one person kept pushing: Casey Monroe, an independent white journalist from Georgia. She met with Monica, recorded her story, and uploaded a 12-minute YouTube video titled "Why No One's Talking About Lena and Lacey." It quickly racked up 500,000 views. The comments were furious. If they were white girls, the FBI would have been on this in hours. The media forgets about missing black kids so fast. The authorities' response: still silence. Monica wrote letters to her state representative, to civil rights groups. All she received were sympathetic replies. No real action. Then retired Officer Thomas Greer reached out. He'd seen a news story and told Monica, "I once handled a case just like this. There's still a chance they're alive, just being kept somewhere." He believed human trafficking rings in the South often targeted children who wouldn't be searched for aggressively: immigrant kids, black kids. Monica brought this to the police. They noted it, and nothing happened. One day, Monica saw her daughter's face on a torn, faded flyer half, covered by an ad for phone repair. She broke down crying in the street. That was the moment she realized the world was starting to forget her girls. And if she didn't act, no one would. Then came the call from St. Martin Parish, Louisiana. A local resident had found a child's backpack tangled in tree roots in a swamp, a faint flicker of light. And this time, it led to a secret no one saw coming. In April 2022, a crawfish fisherman named Darnell Broussard discovered a child's backpack drifting near the edge of the St. Martin Parish Swamp in Louisiana. Inside a mud-stained purple hoodie with the words Lacey's Club still faintly visible, a sketchbook filled with scribbles in what looked like a child's handwriting, and most crucially, a small Ziploc bag containing a silver owl keychain. Monica confirmed it instantly. It was Lena's birthday gift from the year before. DNA tests from a hair strand inside the bag matched her daughter. In April 2022, a crawfish fisherman named Darnell Broussard discovered a child's backpack drifting near the edge of a Louisiana swamp in St. Martin Parish. Inside a mud-caked purple hoodie, the words Lacey's Club still faintly visible. A sketchbook filled with scribbled drawings in what looked like a child's hand, and most notably a small Ziploc bag containing a silver owl keychain. Monica confirmed it immediately. It was Lena's birthday gift from the year before. DNA extracted from a strand of hair inside the bag matched her daughter. But something was off. The last page of the sketchbook contained a shaky message scrawled in uneven handwriting. Don't trust the woman in the gray hat. She's not trained staff. She lied. The handwriting didn't match Lena or Lacey's from any of the notes Monica had saved. The message looked like it was written under duress, be someone scared or forced. The backpack also contained half a packet of specialty cookies, only sold at a highway stop along Route 90, over 80 miles from where the backpack was found. Meaning the bag hadn't just fallen there, it had been floated or dropped from somewhere else. Police tested the mud on the hoodie and found ash particles unique to the area surrounding an abandoned lumber mill in Iberia Parish, but the site had never been searched. When Monica asked police to expand the investigation, she was told, there's not enough solid evidence to obtain a warrant. She went quiet. Once again, the system chose to wait. But Monica didn't. She hired a private investigator, and that's when the case veered into territory no one saw coming. After the backpack was featured on local news, a woman named Iris Caldwell, 72, called the tip line. I think I saw those girls, she said. I wasn't sure not until I saw that owl keychain. Iris lived in Baldwin, about 40 miles from the St. Martin Swamp. A quiet woman, a former nurse, she often sold handmade embroidery at weekend flea markets. She recalled that in late August, over a month after the girls vanished, she'd seen a middle-aged woman with two curly-haired girls at a roadside stop along Highway 90. What struck her was the look in one of the girls' eyes, like she was pleading with me, but too scared to speak. The woman wore a wide, brimmed hat and dark sunglasses. She was polite, but kept the girls from talking. When Iris smiled and asked, "How old are they?" the woman answered for them. "Just 5. They're shy." When Iris was shown photos of Lena and Lacey, her hands trembled. It was them, I'm sure. And that owl keychain, one of them had it on her bag. It sparkled in the sunlight. Police took her statement, but had no physical evidence to corroborate it. That roadside stop had no working cameras. Iris could only recall part of the vehicle's license plate. There was a Z and a 43. Monica visited Iris to thank her. When she saw the embroidered cloth Iris had stitched with the name Lacey, she broke down in tears. It wasn't hard evidence, but coming from a soft-spoken elder with no reason to lie, it was the biggest lead in months. Monica handed the information to her private investigator. They began scanning local vehicle registrations with Z43, and a familiar name popped up: Howard Jessup, a former resident of Baldwin who had since moved to St. Martin Parish. Then came the chilling revelation: Jessup had once been a train systems technician from 2005 to 2014, meaning he knew how to trigger emergency stops, access technician exits, and avoid onboard surveillance. The case began to take shape. This wasn't random. It was orchestrated by someone with inside knowledge, someone who knew exactly how to exploit gaps in the Southern rail network. When Monica's investigative team contacted former Amtrak Crescent technicians, they uncovered something overlooked for months, an unofficial maintenance stop near the Iberia Parish swampland. It had once been used for emergency sensor checks when system glitches occurred. The stop wasn't on any public schedule. Only veteran engineers and conductors knew of its existence. One of those veterans, Frankie Boyd, 63, had worked the Crescent Line for over 3 decades. Now retired, he said, "We had a stretch of track where the train could pull off for a quick systems check. Nothing long, maybe 4 minutes. But if someone knew the layout and had the override key, they could exploit it." Boyd added that in 2021, only certain consultants had access to the emergency override system. One of them, Howard Jessup. Jessup had been a technical supervisor for door and emergency override systems. This aligned with the theory that the abductor not only knew the geography, but also had access to unpublished stops. When Monica's team reviewed the train logs from July 12, 2021, they found an unusual 4-minute stop in the middle of a remote stretchabout, 50 miles past Jackson, exactly where the old maintenance stop had been. The official record noted it as a sensor interference error. But there was no camera footage. The engineer's car didn't store video data. Frankie added, "Someone like Jessup could be simulated a sensor error caused the train to stop and then used the rear technician exit to slip off with the girls." The discovery shattered Monica all over again. Because if that was true, this had never been a spontaneous disappearance. It was planned. A child might wander, but 2 girls slid off a train into the Louisiana wilderness during a secret 4-minute stop. That was no accident. From that moment forward, the case could no longer be treated as a disappearance. It was an abduction executed by someone who knew the rail system inside and out. Howard Jessup, a name long forgotten, suddenly became the center of suspicion. While combing through former Amtrak employee records, Monica's investigator uncovered Jessup's old technical file. He had worked as a maintenance engineer on the Crescent Line for nearly a decade until he was fired in 2014 for violating safety protocols. But that wasn't the only disturbing detail. Back in 2010, a 6-year-old black girl had gone missing near a playground in Yazoo City, Mississippi. Jessup lived just a few miles from the scene and had previously been accused of lurking around schoolyards. Police questioned him, but with no physical evidence, he was never charged. That case to this day remains unsolved. Monica's hands went cold reading the file. She couldn't stop thinking, if they had dug deeper back then, maybe Lena and Lacey. After being fired from Amtrak, Jessup drifted from town to town, living in an old truck, taking odd jobs, AC repairs, shed construction. No permanent address, no financial records. But here's what raised red flags. His travel pattern nearly mirrored the Crescent's route on the day Lena and Lacey vanished. Monica's team ran the numbers. If anyone had the knowledge, timing, and motive to stop the train for precisely 4 minutes at a hidden maintenance point, was Howard Jessup. 4 days after Monica went public with the information, an anonymous envelope arrived at the office of the civil rights attorney supporting her. No return address. Just 3 words on the front for the mother. Inside was a crayon drawing. 2 little girls holding hands in front of a small tin-roofed house. In the background, a curly-haired woman stood at a distance, being held back by someone. In the top corner, a silver owl, just like the keychain found in the swamp. Scrawled at the bottom, "Mommy, I hear you in my dreams." Monica collapsed when she saw the drawing. She knew that hand-it was Lacey's. Childlike, uneven, but unmistakably hers. The message was clear. Someone was trying to reach her. Someone, possibly, was still alive. The private investigator traced the envelope. The postmark placed it in Iberia Parish, the same area where the backpack was found. They reviewed footage from nearby libraries and print shops and spotted a man in a baseball cap near the post office, but couldn't confirm his identity. Then came the eerie coincidence. Just 3 miles away was an abandoned wooden shack with a broken tin roof, almost identical to the house in the drawing. Investigators and local police moved in. The shack was empty. but there were signs someone had stayed there: a worn blanket, an old pillow, and scattered sheets of unfinished drawings. One showed two girls peering through a window with the sun rising outside. In the corner, they found a purple flower, shaped hair, clipped just like the one Monica had given Lacey for her 6th birthday. When asked, Monica simply said, "There's no way there are two like that." The discovery shook everyone. No DNA, no surveillance. But the drawings, the location, the details, it was all too aligned. Monica believed Lacey or someone helping her had sent the letter, and that person might still be watching everything unfold from the shadows. The biggest question now, if Lacey is alive, who helped her draw that message, and why haven't they brought her to safety? The silence felt like a cruel game, someone pulling the strings. But Monica was done waiting. She was willing to go to the ends of the swamp to uncover the truth. 1 week after the letter, a new witness came forward. Lena Collinsa, homeless woman living near the Greyhound station in Lafayette, Louisiana, called the tip line, voice trembling. "I think I saw those girls around October last year with a blonde woman." Monica met with her immediately. Lena described she was in her 30s, wavy blonde hair, wearing a gray sweater. She clutched a huge handbag like it was her life. But what stuck with me, those kids didn't look like hers. They were timid. The younger one kept holding on to the older girl's hand. According to Lena, the three were only there for about 15 minutes before disappearing. Investigators pulled station footage. Most of it had been overwritten. But one grainy clip showed 3 figures stepping out of a small truck. For a few fleeting seconds, a girl in a pink shirt could be seen matching the one Monica had bought for Lacey. Then came the haunting detail: the blonde woman. No ID, no matches in any previous statements, no connection to any known suspect. Police dubbed her Jane Doe number 4. But to Monica, she was the missing link, the woman who had led the girls off the train, and possibly the one still hiding Lacey. Investigators returned to the shack, this time with cadaver dogs. Beneath the dirt floor, they uncovered an old cloth doll lining stained with dried blood. DNA testing confirmed it was Lena's. The news shattered Monica, but it also confirmed what she had long feared: Lena might be gone. But Lacey, based on the letter, the drawing, and the witness, had still been alive as recently as last October. Monica went public with her story, pleading on local television for Jane Doe number 4 to come forward. Not for punishment, just for the truth. Just to know where her daughter was. No one responded. Until one stormy night, Monica got a call. A woman's voice whispered on the other end, "I was wrong to keep her this long, but I was scared. They won't stop." And then the line went dead. The hunt for the final link had begun. But Monica knew what that meant. Every theory she once believed was about to be shattered. The anonymous message in the rainy night didn't just shake Monica, it rattled the entire investigation. Someone was watching her, closely. Someone who knew something, knew enough to speak up, but chose to whisper from the shadows. Monica brought the audio recording to police. They listened repeatedly, running it through voice filters and analysis tools. The result, unidentifiable. The caller was a young woman, calm, clear voice, no sign of distress or coercion. That made Monica uneasy. Why did she say I kept her too long? Who was she, an accomplice or a manipulated victim? And what did she mean by, "They won't stop"? Were there others involved? Monica began to question everything she'd once believed. Was Jessup truly the mastermind, or just one part of something deeper, darker? She remembered one overlooked detail: the backpack had surfaced on her birthday. Was that just coincidence, or a message? If someone was playing a twisted game, they knew her schedule, her emotions, even where she might look next. She felt manipulated. But the hardest part to accept was that her faith in the system was starting to crack. For months, she'd done everything a mother could. Cooperated with police, hired lawyers, reached out to the media, paid investigators out of pocket, and still, none of it had brought her daughter home. The media had moved on. The police were waiting for new evidence. Monica knew if she stopped speaking, the case would be shelved, just like that forgotten 2010 disappearance. So she stopped waiting. In a 2-hour live stream on TikTok and YouTube, Monica laid everything bare. Every clue, every hope, every heartbreak. Nearly 700,000 people tuned in. The comment section overflowed with emotion. One question kept appearing. If you were Monica, who would you still trust? She read every line, and she realized people weren't demanding closure. They were demanding truth, even if that truth hurt. And maybe so was she. After the live stream, a ripple of awareness began spreading. Black mothers groups, independent true crime channels, and even local stations that once ignored the case began speaking out. Monica wasn't alone anymore. But with the momentum came something else, an eerie sense of surveillance. And one question no one wanted to answer. It started with strange signs. Her front door was unlocked one night, but nothing taken. Her investigator's email was hacked. A whisper from inside the department. You're digging too deep where you shouldn't be. Monica began to wonder, was this still about her daughters, or was she uncovering something larger, a network, a ring? She never believed in conspiracy theories until the puzzle pieces began aligning in terrifying ways. While following a lead near New Iberia, her investigator was tailed. A black SUV followed them for miles, then vanished as soon as police were called. That same evening, Monica received a new email. No message, just a photo, a pair of pink shoes, Lacey's lying in tall reeds. The GPS data placed it near the swampy woodland where Jessup had once worked. A massive search was launched. Over the next 48 hours, the team combed the area. And then they found it. A metal box buried beneath an old oak tree. Inside, a scrap of paper scribbled in a child's hand. I don't remember what mommy looks like, but I know she's coming. No one said it out loud, but the implication was clear. Lacey was still alive. But where was she, and why was she being kept, not by a violent captor, but possibly by someone who believed they were protecting her? Monica no longer knew what to believe. Once she had faith in justice, but now she understood some cases don't remain unsolved because of a lack of evidence. They remain unsolved because someone doesn't want them solved. And Lacey, she might be just one of many. One child caught in a sick game, orchestrated by people who operate beyond the law, but still hold power. What was the truth? Was Jane Doe, number 4, a former victim of Jessup hunts, lured in, now a reluctant accomplice? Or was she a surrogate mother, torn between shielding Lacey and setting her free? No one knew. And maybe the truth wouldn't come through an arrest or a court verdict. Maybe it would come in scattered pieces, fragments of memory, scribbled drawings, a forgotten pair of shoes, and a voice that whispered in the dark, I still remember you, Mommy. Monica stood at the edge of the woods, where the light no longer reached. But in that moment, she saw more clearly than ever. This search wasn't just about bringing Lacey home. It was about making sure no one else would ever have to search for their child in the dark again. Monica sat in silence before a wall crowded with photos, maps, and scribbled notes taped in every direction. In her hands, she held the crumpled drawing, in Lacey's handwriting, creased and worn, but still the one thing that kept her going. She didn't know where Lacey was, what kind of life she was living, or whether she even remembered her mother's face. But Monica knew one thing: she was still here, still searching. Not just for her daughter, but for every child the world had forgotten. She looked straight into the camera and said nothing for several seconds. Her face showed no more tears, but in her eyes burned a quiet fire and ember that never went out. In that moment, people didn't just see a mother. They saw something more, a symbol of endurance and of unanswered grief. No one truly knows what happened. No one knows where Lacey is. But one thing is certain: this isn't the end. It's a crossroads of truth, where each of us must ask, if it were your child, what would you do? And if it happened in your community, how long could you look away? In this world, justice doesn't always come from evidence. Sometimes it comes from memory, from a refusal to give up, and from the belief that no matter how dark the path gets, there's still a light waiting at the end.